What is there to say about Heat that hasn't already been said? A lot, actually. Those who are film savvy enough understand that Heat is a movie that doesn't come along very often. It is that rare breed of cinema that does the impossible task of entertaining an audience while stimulating the intellect. On the surface, it's a whip-smart crime thriller and police procedural, populated with colorful, multi-layered characters who feel like real, living, breathing examples of the criminal underworld, as well as their authority figure counterparts and the loved ones on both sides. Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Val Kilmer, Tom Sizemore, Jon Voight, Amy Brenneman, Ashley Judd, Wes Studi, Mykelti Williamson, Ted Levine, Dennis Haysbert, William Fichtner, Natalie Portman, Tom Noonan, Hank Azaria, Kevin Gage. Hell, even Jeremy Piven and Xander Berkeley make memorable cameos. Heat is populated with so many brilliant actors, it's almost hard to believe one movie could contain such a talented roster, and everyone is doing top-tier work. There isn't a single performance that feels weak or phoned in, and Heat is probably most famous for putting De Niro and Pacino in the same scene. Why is Heat such a timeless classic? There are many factors at play, and I will get to them, but I want to focus on the defining thematic element that often gets overlooked. Heat, at its core, is a movie about harsh truths. The world in which the characters in Heat find themselves is one of gritty and uncomfortable truths that shape their destinies. There is a self-awareness to Michael Mann's central characters that is unusual in your typical crime thriller. Pacino's Hannah and De Niro's Macaulay both know exactly who they are and seem to have an unusual insight into their own psyches. Neither are deluding themselves about what they are. They are men who have come to terms with their stations in life, and the only conflict is with the people in their personal lives who can't seem to accept this. For all their single-minded purpose and energy being put into the external world, there is a deep yearning for emotional connection. Hannah has had 2 failed marriages, so he is still trying. Macaulay, who claims to not be lonely, is still willing to hang it up and focus on his new love. I found the scene in which Macaulay and Edie first meet fascinating. Macaulay is so detached from social norms and focused on his work, he doesn't realize she's subtly hitting on him, and when he realizes she's not a threat, he immediately switches gears and becomes soft and romantic. This dual behavioral display will become key to his downfall towards the end of the film. Hannah, on the other hand, is a man that is more restless. He already has the domesticated life, but cannot connect with Justine. The harsh truth is that neither man is meant for the domesticated life. They are hunter and hunted. The sad part is these characters can't ever seem to change. Macaulay's salvation in the form of his new love is not enough for him to give up his restless pursuit of revenge. And Hannah's partner can never be satisfied dealing with his single-minded obsession, so she lets him go. This harsh reality plays out in many different scenes over the course of the film. Hannah can't even have a pleasant night out with his friends without being sucked back into the harsh reality of street crime. The prostitute killed by Waingro, a stark reminder that his job is never done. Donald, newly released from prison, is planted into a dead-end job he hates, and the pull of a score overwhelms him and gets him killed. He is another character who lives and dies by his chosen profession. The harsh truth of his reality is damning, and Edie's harsh wake-up call is delivered swiftly and coldly. This truth motif is expressed in other ways as well. In the cinematography, Mann constructs the film in a documentary-like fashion, with matter-of-fact angles and shots, harsh, sometimes garish lighting schemes, and just a very overall anti-slick, anti-commercial filmmaking visual style. There is also an attention to detail that is atypical of this kind of film. There is an inside baseball kind of dialogue that extends to every facet of the police interactions and criminal element. We feel more entrenched in this world because the characters are speaking a language we're not totally familiar with. In little things like the armored car guards losing their hearing after the explosion, the fact that Mann chose to use the on-set audio of gunfire during the downtown shootout instead of replacing it with typical movie gun sound effects, the seemingly improv nature of a lot of the dialogue, the peculiar way Macaulay's crew coordinates the setup of Waingro in the diner after the robbery debacle, heavily suggesting a long history of cooperation among the men. Mann seems to be digging pretty deep to get a core truth-telling style that makes Heat far and above your average crime thriller. And I just love how Mann treats Los Angeles as another character in the film, especially at night. The deep, inky black void of the LA wasteland, pinpricked with star-like points of brilliant light. A vast array of bright possibilities amongst a nefarious backdrop, perfectly in line with the harsh reality motif of the film. Even during the day, LA is awash in a kind of pale glow only its residents understand. As a former LA dweller, I get it and appreciate this level of understanding and reverence Mann seems to hold for the City of Angels. And the production design, how Macaulay's barren residence near the ocean heavily suggests the void he struggles with, the backdrop, an ocean of possibilities he wants to explore if he can finally give up the life he is obsessed with. Heat successfully pulls off what so many films are no longer either able to or interested in: tone, and letting tone guide the emotional foundation of the storytelling, rather than just plot or dialogue. Besides the sparse visual palette, elegant and simple shot selection, and mood-driven music, another way Mann expresses tone is silence. There are portions of the film which use silence in a way that powerfully illustrate the contemplative nature of what Mann is trying to communicate. Heat's characters are ones in silent conflict with themselves and others. Mann gives his film room to breathe, and its nearly 3-hour runtime goes by like that. Even when things are happening, the soundtrack is somewhat gentle. The audience isn't being bombarded with an endless number of sound effects, like so many films feel the need to use in modern filmmaking. Heat often comes across more like a tone poem. Some of my favorite films have this more mood-centric approach to the storytelling, and it's something I really appreciate, because movies are the only art form that can capture so many different artistic disciplines in one package. This greater toolkit can lead to a more powerful impact on the audience and their emotions when filmmakers utilize them properly. Tone is one thing that communicates more information faster and more efficiently than either dialogue or plot. Heat's influence is still being felt today. Considered the gold standard of crime flicks, many filmmakers have tried to emulate its distinctive style, but none of them can ever quite capture its true essence. Heat is a film that constantly reminds us how powerful the cinematic medium can be, and there may never be another crime film quite like it. If you enjoyed this video, consider hitting the like and subscribe button, as I'll be posting more content in the future. Thanks for watching.